Aries, pause for a moment and really listen. October 7 is not an ordinary day. It's like a secret door that has been waiting for you for so long, and now it finally opens. It carries with it opportunity, release, and surprises strong enough to make your heart tremble. If these words have reached you, it is not by chance. The universe wants you to know a turning point is closer than ever, and to understand why. Let's sit together, as if a wise old teacher were right beside you, whispering about the journey that begins on October 7. Imagine this. You're sitting beside an old man, his hair silver, his eyes calm, as if they have witnessed 1,000 moons pass. He sits close to you, not hurried, not loud. His voice rises slowly like a small stream weaving through stones, gentle, cool, and full of compassion. He says, "You have walked through many nights of darkness, but today is the dawn of your soul." Those words echo, not only as comfort, but like the toll of a bell, announcing that something is about to open. October 7 is not just a date on the calendar. It does not arrive as a number, but as an invisible doorway waiting for you to step through. The universe, in its strange and delicate way, has been preparing this moment for a long time, long before you realized you were wandering in the spirals of life. Every wound, every stumble, every sleepless night was a piece of the tapestry, a quiet thread woven together so that today you could finally see the pattern of your destiny. Pause for a moment, take a deep breath, listen to your heartbeat, feel the air around you as if the sky itself is leaning closer, as if someone is whispering in your ear. What happens today is no accident. When the wheel of the universe turns, it chooses the moment when your soul is finally mature enough to understand, to touch, and to receive. Have you ever had a day when everything suddenly shifted? As if from the darkness, a strange light broke in, shining into an old room in your heart. Those days, we are rarely prepared for them. But maybe that's the miracle, because in not being prepared, every emotion strikes deeper, more real, right into the roots of who we are. October 7 is one of those days. I see within you, Aries, the power of a flame you thought had burned out. You carry the scars of hard years, of seasons of sowing without harvest, of giving more than you ever received. And now, as the sun of destiny rises, you begin to realize nothing in your past was wasted. Every tear that fell became a seed. Every silent prayer was carried in the wind, in the clouds, in the breath of the universe itself. I know there were times you asked, why so much loss? Why so much pain? But the truth is, only souls who have tasted the night can truly understand the value of light. And today, that light is not only shining on you, it is rising from within you. This dawn does not belong to the sun, it belongs to your soul. I want you to look back, not with regret, but with the eyes of an artist gazing at their canvas. Dark strokes, bright strokes, rough edges, fine lines, all placed side by side, and together they form a masterpiece. That is your story, imperfect, yes, but whole. If today your heart feels heavy, ask yourself gently, what inside me is waiting to change? The moment you ask, you've already placed one foot through the door, and the wonder is that door only opens when you are truly ready. Remember this, Aries, transformation of the soul does not always come with drama. Sometimes it arrives like a long-awaited embrace, a tear that falls without warning, a brief conversation that moves you for years. The universe does not need spectacle, because the most sacred things often come in silence. Tell me, Aries, have you ever had a day like that? A day when everything shifted and you knew you could never be the same person again? If you have, share it. If you have not, open your heart, because that day could be today. And when you begin to sense the door opening, let your spirit become like water, flowing, gentle, yet strong enough to move past every rock and every fall. Because what waits on the other side is not just opportunity, it is the beginning of a new journey, where the wheel of destiny turns finally in your favor. In every human life, there are moments that arrive like a strange wind, sweeping away the dust from a path you thought you knew too well. For Aries, October 7 is one of those moments. A day when the universe quietly turns the great wheel and what was stuck begins to move. A hidden door opens before you. Not everyone will see that door, because it only appears when your heart is clear, calm, and awake enough to recognize the design behind the curtain of challenges. The opportunity you've been waiting for does not come with noise or fireworks. It arrives quietly, like the sunrise after a long night of rain. It might look like a new job, a brighter financial path, or a relationship that changes how you see love and companionship. But opportunity is more than an outer shift. It's a sign that your soul has stepped into a new chapter where you are ready to be seen, to be acknowledged, and to receive more than you ever dared to dream. From my own work in healing, I've come to believe opportunity only appears when you are ready inside. The universe does not place a gift in your hands until your spirit has the peace to hold it. Just as in a garden, seeds only sprout when the soil has softened and the rain has settled deep. So if you sense a door opening in front of you now, know this: you have done enough, endured enough, grown enough to step through into something new. Don't mistake opportunity for material success alone. Success can satisfy, yes, but opportunity brings freedom to the soul. It is the moment you step out of old loops, when you stop living trapped in the opinions of others and begin living true to yourself. That opportunity might take the shape of a stranger knocking on your heart, a project that excites you like the very first time, or a journey that forces you to leave the comfort zone and move forward. Pause with me here and ask yourself, if tomorrow everything in my life began to flow with ease, what is the first thing I would do? This question is not only for imagining, it is to help you open your heart to change. Because when you name what you long for, you send a signal out into the universe, declaring that you are ready to receive it. Aries, trust that whatever arrives in these days carries a message. A sudden phone call, an invitation, a small open door, all could be the beginning of a greater chain of change. Look with your heart, not just your eyes, because often what you're seeking does not come dressed in grandeur, but hidden in simplicity, quietness, and lasting strength. So tell me, do you dare to share the opportunity your heart has been waiting for? Write it down, speak it aloud. When you give your dream a name, you lay the very first stone on the path toward making it real. And when one Aries shares their light, that light becomes inspiration for other souls who are still searching for their way. Opportunity does not always knock twice, but if you can trust, if you can find the courage to open your heart, once is enough to change your whole life. Remember this: opportunity does not only arrive for you to receive. It arrives so you can learn to give, to expand, to become a larger, brighter version of yourself. And then, like a river flowing toward the sea, you will realize to truly step through that door, there is still one thing left to do. Because before you can enter a new beginning, you must first learn to release what has been binding you, the burdens that were never yours to carry. There are burdens we carry in life that were never meant to stay with us until the end. They come only to remind us for a while. Many times, what makes Aries weary is not a lack of strength, but the weight of carrying loads that were never yours to begin with. Like a traveler on a long journey, sometimes you pick up stones that belong to others and place them in your own pack. You do it out of compassion, out of love, out of a wish to spare someone else from walking alone. But there comes a moment when your legs grow heavy, your breath shortens, and your soul loses the lightness it once knew. I've seen many Aries collapse in life, not because they were weak, but because their hearts were too wide, too willing to feel for others. They became the pillar everyone leaned on, forgetting they too needed a shoulder. And one day they realized they had been carrying the whole sky, yet had no ground of their own to sit down and rest. That is when life whispers, you do not have to carry a stone that was never yours. Release does not mean abandoning or turning cold. It is not indifference. Release is knowing what is truly your responsibility and what belongs to someone else's journey. Because if you carry other people's pain forever, they will never learn to stand on their own feet, and you will never walk far on the path your soul was meant to travel. Picture yourself walking in a forest. Each stone you set down gives you back a breath. Your shoulders lighten, your steps quicken. The light shining through the trees grows clearer. That is the feeling of letting go, light, fresh, and free. To let go is to love yourself, and at the same time, it is to give others the gift of finding their own strength. Aries, I want you to do something small right now. Write down one thing you no longer want to carry inside. It could be an old memory, a word of blame, a relationship ready to close, or even a guilt that has no place to remain. When you write it down, you turn the invisible into something you can see. You place the burden on the ground instead of letting it silently erode your heart. I know letting go is not easy. Sometimes we cling to pain simply because it feels familiar. But life did not create you to be a prisoner of memory. You were born to live, to grow, to be free. And the first freedom is freedom from the weights in your own heart. Remember this, Aries, every tear you have ever shed was not weakness. It was proof that you loved with everything you had. And because you have loved so deeply, you deserve to walk forward with peace, unchained, without holding the world's mistakes in your arms. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine placing a stone down by the side of the road. You stand tall again, brush the dust from your shoulders, and notice the path ahead looks wider, the light more radiant. That is the gift of release, a body that feels light, a heart that feels clear, a mind that has space for the blessings on their way. With every breath, remind yourself that you deserve to be free. Life does not measure your strength by how many burdens you carry, but by how much peace you can find even in the storm. And when you allow yourself to release, you also allow life to bring you gentle, fresh, and loving things in return. And then, once the burdens have been set down, something begins to stir. A flame within you, one you thought had gone out long ago, starts to rise again. Warm, powerful, alive. It is the flame of longing, the flame of a dream you once abandoned, waiting for you to step closer and awaken it once more. There are flames in life we think have gone out completely, but in truth, they only smolder quietly, hidden beneath the ashes of time and fear. Aries, I know you've had dreams like this. Dreams once held close but then set aside for duty, for survival, for wounds that had not yet healed. You told yourself, maybe my chance is gone. But here is the truth: fire never truly dies. It waits. It waits for the moment to be awakened, like incense glowing faintly in the dark, waiting for just the slightest breath of air to burst into light again. I want you to picture yourself sitting in a quiet room, with a single candle before you. The flame trembles, weak, as if it could fade at any moment. But when you cup your hands around it, protect it, it survives. And slowly it grows brighter, warmer, until the whole room is changed by its glow. Your dream is like that candle. It never disappeared. It has always been there, waiting for you to return, waiting for you to believe again. For me, the greatest opportunity is not something that arrives from outside, but the moment you turn inward and see the light you thought you had lost. As a healer, I remind those who come to me, no dream ever truly dies. It only waits for you to breathe life back into it with faith. And when Aries dares to look at an old dream again, that is when a new journey begins, a rebirth from your own ashes. Remember, your dream is never just for you. It carries a mission for the world. A writer does not create a book only for themselves, but so thousands of readers might find resonance. An entrepreneur does not begin only to make a living, but to create work for others. Someone who dares to love does not love only for their own happiness, but to pass on the energy of trust. Your dream, Aries, is the gift the universe placed in your hands to give through your heart and your life. I want you to pause and ask yourself, what inside me is waiting to be reborn? It could be a project left unfinished, a relationship once abandoned, a passion for art, or simply the longing to live true to yourself. Write it down, name it, because when you dare to name a dream, you allow it to breathe again. Do not think it is too late. There is no such thing as too late when your soul still longs for it. Spring may come a little slower some years, but when it arrives, the earth still blooms, so too with your dream. It returns at the moment you are mature enough to protect it, to nurture it, to live it more fully than before. Yes, life often shakes our faith. It convinces us we are not ready, not capable, not enough. But the moment you choose to believe that even the smallest spark remains, you create the first miracle. And the inner flame begins to rise again, lighting tired eyes, warming a heart grown cold. And when that flame grows, you will see something unexpected. It gives not only strength but gentleness. Gentleness to forgive yourself. Gentleness to look back on the past without regret. A flame does not only burn away the dark, it melts the thin layer of ice that kept you from touching peace. Aries, as you hear these words, I hope you feel encouraged to take just one more step, even the smallest step, toward that dream. Because life does not want you to live like a flickering lamp. Life wants you to blaze, to shine in such a way that everyone who comes close feels warmer simply by your presence. And then, when the flame has returned, you will discover a gift greater than any dream, true peace. Peace is not the absence of storms. It is the ability to keep your heart still even when the winds are howling. Aries, I want you to imagine yourself standing before a quiet lake. The sky may be heavy with clouds, the wind may stir the trees, yet the surface of the water still reflects the heavens perfectly. That is the image of a soul that has found its way back to peace. Through years of walking beside people in search of healing, I've learned this truth: peace has never been found outside. It does not come from wealth or status or the applause of others. Peace comes from the choices you make each day. You choose a gentle word instead of a sharp one. You choose silence instead of an argument. You choose forgiveness instead of holding on to pain. Each choice, small as it may seem, becomes a grain of sand, and together, they form the shoreline of calm within you. I know many Aries have lived too long in the cycle of striving, having to prove, having to carry, having to be the steady ground for others. And then comes a moment when you feel exhausted, and that is when life reminds you, peace is the true compass. When you choose peace, you choose yourself. This is not just a phrase, it is a reminder, because too often we choose what unsettles us, thinking it is duty, obligation, or the price for love. But Aries, you do not have to live in that loop. Peace is your right, the right to put down burdens, the right to breathe with ease, the right to smile for no reason other than knowing you deserve it. You can walk out into the noisy, pressured world, but only when you return inside to the steady rhythm of your own heart do you find the truth. And the truth is simple: stay close to what brings you peace, release what steals the quiet from your soul. Take a pause with me now. Ask yourself, what has given me peace lately? Perhaps it was a quiet morning with a warm cup of coffee. Perhaps it was an unexpected hug from someone you love, or simply the moment you sat back and breathed deeply after a long day. When you name it, you realize peace is never far away. It has always been right here, waiting for you to notice. Letting go of what unsettles you is an act of courage. It might mean stepping away from a toxic relationship, saying no to a job that does not fit, or simply daring to say no when something pushes past your limits. Letting go is not losing, it is reclaiming your freedom. It is how you give yourself the chance to live lighter, calmer, freer. Aries, peace does not make you weak. It makes you stronger, because only a quiet soul can see the path clearly. Only a peaceful heart has the space to welcome love. And only a steady mind can guide you through the storm without losing direction. So share with me what has brought you peace lately. When you write it down, you are not only reminding yourself, you are planting a seed of peace for everyone listening alongside you in this moment. And then, when peace has taken root, you will witness something remarkable. From that stillness, abundance begins to arrive on its own, like birds returning home at dusk. Abundance in life is not found only in bank accounts or in the possessions you hold. True abundance is when your heart feels full, complete, and open. Aries, take a moment to feel this. When we look back, we realize abundance can appear in a familiar smile, a warm embrace, or simply in the silence of a moment that no longer feels heavy. That is the kind of wealth no amount of money can buy. In my journey of healing work, I've seen that the greatest abundance is not having more, but having just enough to share. When you can offer someone a meal, a word of encouragement, or a simple, genuine touch, you are creating a circle of abundance. Because abundance never stops with one person, It flows outward and returns like a river that never ceases to move. On October 7, abundance will not arrive with noise or fanfare. It will come through quiet, unexpected signs. A message that lets you breathe easier after long days of worry. A reunion with someone you thought you had lost, realizing love was never gone. Or perhaps a new love knocking softly, stirring your heart awake once again. That joy, Aries, is not fleeting. It is like sunlight in winter, not blinding but warm, finding its way into every corner of your soul. I want you to understand, joy is not only to be experienced but to heal. When you allow yourself to smile, you soothe the wounds of the past. When you embrace joy, you teach yourself, I deserve happiness. And when you hold on to joy, it becomes lasting energy, a strength to carry you through the days ahead. Try writing this down. I am ready to receive my blessings. By doing so, you open a door for the universe to send even more. Do not hesitate, because the universe never withholds gifts from hearts that know how to cherish them. And you, Aries, have walked through enough nights to deserve mornings full of light. Let me tell you this, abundance and joy are never accidents. They are life's way of restoring balance, gifts for those who have sown, who have waited, who have sacrificed. If you have ever felt you gave more than you received, today the scales are being set right. Fullness, recognition, and love are finding their way to you, not as random miracles, but as the natural result of all you have given. And when you open yourself to abundance and joy, you will feel something deeper. Not just the happiness of a moment, but a steady comfort, like an old wound quietly closing, like a heart returning to its natural rhythm. You will see that true joy is not only for enjoyment, it lifts your soul, making you strong enough to keep moving forward. Aries, believe this. Abundance is not only for you. It radiates to those around you, carrying light, warming anyone who comes near. That is the deeper truth of abundance, not to keep for yourself, but to become a source of healing for the world. And when joy begins to breathe through every step and every breath, you will realize you are approaching something even more profound, because that joy will guide you to a journey of the deepest reconciliation of all. There are wounds that did not begin with you, yet they flow through you like an unseen river. They are the sorrows, the hurts, the unfinished stories of your parents, your grandparents, and the generations before you. They often appear in your own life as patterns you can't quite explain, a fear, a failure, or a kind of loss that returns again and again. Aries, today the universe whispers, you are no longer here to repeat the old wounds. You were born to set them free. Reconciliation is not just sitting down and forgiving someone else. It is when you turn inward and look at yourself with gentleness. It is when you tell the child within you, you've endured enough. Now you may rest. And it is when you sense the presence of your ancestors beside you, as if with every step you are carrying not just yourself but the soul of your lineage. I believe the greatest sacred ritual is forgiving yourself, not because you have failed, but because for too long you haven't given yourself an embrace. You have judged yourself, compared yourself, carried blame as though it belonged to you. But today, as the wheel of life turns in your favor, let every judgment fall away. Let your shoulders grow light. Forgiveness is not only release, it is the first breath of rebirth. Aries, imagine yourself walking into an ancient garden. At the center stands an old tree, rough in bark, yet deeply rooted and strong. You place your hand against it and feel the currents of life rising from the earth into your palm. That is your ancestry. They have never left. They are here in your blood, in your breath, in every heartbeat. And they smile because you are the one chosen to heal what they could not. Healing yourself is also healing your lineage. Every burden you put down makes the path lighter for those who come after you. Every time you choose love instead of blame, trust instead of doubt, you are writing a different story for your entire family. This journey is not yours alone. It is a gift to those who never had the chance to live fully. Aries, I invite you to close your eyes and whisper to your heart. Have you ever felt the presence of your ancestors walking with you? Let your intuition answer. Sometimes it's a dream where the smile of someone gone returns. Sometimes it's an old song that plays at the exact moment you need it. Sometimes it's only a soft breeze on your shoulder, and somehow you feel comforted though you can't explain why. These are the ways your ancestors tell you, we are here. You are not alone. Rebirth does not mean becoming someone else. It means returning to the truest version of yourself. A soul unbound by fear, free from the tragedies of the past. When you are reborn, the world may look the same, but your eyes see differently. You see opportunity where once there was only pain. You see light even while shadows linger. And you see yourself whole, worthy, and complete. Believe this, Aries. This journey is not an ending, but the opening of a door. For everything you have walked through, every tear, every lesson, every wound has brought you closer to the most important moment of all, the destined hour of October 7. Aries, after all the layers of meaning we have walked through together, today, October 7, rises as a sacred milestone in your journey. This is not just a strange date on the calendar. It is the doorway into the harvest season of your soul. A season where you will feel, perhaps for the first time so clearly, that everything you have planted in love, in patience, in silent tears, is now beginning to sprout and blossom. Opportunity comes not to prove you are greater than anyone else, but to remind you that you deserve to live fully. Release comes to lift the weight from your shoulders, so you no longer carry burdens that were never yours. The inner flame burns again, reviving old dreams, allowing your heart to long once more and to act with courage. Peace rises quietly as your compass, guiding you to what stills your soul and away from what unsettles it. Then abundance flows in, like a natural current, not only as money but as recognition, as open hands reaching for you, as the deep sense of being loved and seen. Within that abundance, joy rushes in, perhaps in news you have waited for, in a reunion, or in an embrace that makes your heart tremble. And above all, reconciliation arrives. You make peace with yourself, with your past, with your lineage. And then you step forward, lighter, freer, reborn in the light of a new beginning. The tears that fall today are no longer tears of sorrow, but tears of gratitude and renewal. You cry because you realize that every heavy step had its purpose. You cry because you finally understand life was never against you. It was shaping you so you could be worthy of this harvest. I want you to pause now, take a deep breath and feel it. This is your time. This is the chapter the universe has written for Aries. And you are the main character, the only one who can step into it and live it fully. Share your story in the comments, because when you tell it, you are not only healing yourself, you are lighting the way for someone else who is still searching in the dark. Your story is light, and the world needs it. Thank you for listening with your whole heart. I wish you, Aries, peace in every breath, abundance in every step, and love surrounding you through every part of your journey.